Hello out there, and today we are taking a look at the Benchmade produced HK model 14143, also known as the Unsub. And this HK, like the rest of the HK line, is discontinued. But that said, they are still available. You can find them. I picked this one up on eBay a month or so ago, got it in the $35 range, and I just checked eBay again today, and there are a few of them in that $30 to $35 price range. So I don't anticipate that they'll be going away completely for a while. I think a lot of them were produced, so you should be able to find them for a while as well. But like I said, that $30 price range does indicate that this is an imported knife. So this is produced in China, and what we have here is an 8CR13 MOV blade steel with a cutting edge of just shy of 3.5 inches. Our weight is pretty agreeable, coming in at, let's see here, 4.66 ounces. And considering that we have multiple liners in this knife, that really isn't bad, especially once you get the knife in the hand. And speaking of those liners, we do have a liner lock, and we have full liners and an extra third liner because that houses the assisted opening mechanism that this knife functions on. All right, so thumb hole open only, assisted, has a really good kick to it, pretty smooth. It does have some bronze, and it looks like Teflon, maybe just plastic though, washers. So a balance in there, but no issues with the speed or the smoothness of deployment. All right, you can see that open frame construction. And then as we move back, you can also see this tip down right side only pocket clip and G10 handle scales. The G10 has a little bit of texturing on the flat side and then smooths out as it's machined up to the edges. All right, the texture, if you need something that it's similar to, is pretty similar to like Spyderco Persistence kind of texturing. So not super grippy, but not slick by any stretch of the imagination. Okay? And so there are some good and some bad things when it comes to this knife. And I'm going to just focus on the good and what attracted me to the knife for a few minutes. And what attracted me, essentially, is just the way the knife looks. The lines of the knife are awesome. They're fantastic. I knew the moment that I saw this knife that I wanted to pick it up, that I had to have it. I love the blade shape. Just overall, the design is great. And I didn't realize it until I got the knife in hand, but there is a reason why I like this design so much. And that is because there are a ton, and I mean a ton, of similarities to the discontinued Benchmade model designed by Bob Lum called the Deja Vu, specifically the Mini Deja Vu. This knife looks a lot like that knife. There is one significant difference in the blade with the way it's ground. The Mini Deja Vu has a higher grind line, but the blade shape has a strong resemblance. The thumb hole, the one position tip down pocket clip, I mean, I think it's the same exact clip, to be honest with you guys. And then just the shape of the handle as well. So I really think that this model is based off of that one, even though I haven't seen any literature about it. It sure appears that way to me. And that's a good thing, because that Deja Vu model was gorgeous, and this one is too. Just a really attractive knife. The blade, the blade material, and the way that it cuts out of box, I mean, it's a great slicer. It was extremely sharp, so a really good job there on the blade. But the negative things, the things that are the drawbacks when it comes to this one, are really all just fit and finish related. And obviously, I can't have Benchmade quality expectations when we're talking about an overseas knife, especially at this price point. And I get that, but I would still hope for something a little bit better than some of the issues that I see here. And so I'll go through them quickly, and maybe you can decide if I'm being nitpicky or if these are legitimate gripes. All right, but starting with the blade. We've got some great jimping, all right, really good jimping. Hopefully you can see that. I'm going to try to keep it in focus and get it closer. But the jimping is pretty deep, it's grippy, and it looks like it would be really functional. But the one issue with it, if you can see right here, is that it's just recessed below the height of the liners. So when you're putting your thumb on the knife, and trying to really get it to lock in, you miss out on the jimping that's right here. You can feel it, but you don't get the full use of it the way you do, at the top of it. And I mean, this would be really excellent jimping, and it's just a missed opportunity. And it's one of those like fit and finish things, like I said, that, man, it just could have been much better, and it isn't, unfortunately. But if you look at it, I mean, nice job jimping, nice job with the blade, and nice job down here too, getting a choil for sharpening as well. So they did a good job with it, but just didn't think it through or execute it to the quality that they could have. All right, and then moving back, I want to take a minute to talk about the liners, because there are 3 of them. You do have the assisted opening mechanism that has to be housed somewhere. So my guess is that it's between these two liners here. I mean, that is where it obviously has to be. But there is no milling on any of these liners, and I don't see the need for there to be 3 full-length liners. I've seen it before in some other knives, but I don't know, it's always a nice touch when you can house that assisted opening mechanism into the G10 maybe, or have like a partial liner going. Just that extra weight that third liner creates, I think, is a lot of times unnecessary. And what you have here is just a pretty sloppy job getting that liner onto the knife. And you can see, hopefully you can see that there's like an extension here, and that the sizes are just different. I can really get my fingernail in there just because the liners just don't fit together just right. It's something that a little more sanding could have avoided, but it wasn't done. So you just have liners that aren't flush, and then just a lot of general sharpness just all around the knife. Sharp edges, Sorry guys, I'm trying to get this as focused as I can, but struggling a little bit. But just sharp at all points, just the way the edges aren't rounded, but then even like the edges here, everything is just sharp. So ergonomically, if you hold the knife in your hand, for a light cut, this would be great. But like the harder you grip it, the more the hot spots are just going to pop up. They just pop up, the liner lock itself is sharp. Like, a lot of aspects of this knife just aren't as clean as I'd like them to be, even at the $35 price point. And then last but certainly not least was my difficulty in getting this knife apart. And by difficulty, I mean I wasn't able to do it. Couldn't get this knife apart. What I really wanted to do was an inside-out review of this knife. I want to start doing that. I'm actually going to be doing an inside-out review of the Buck Vantage Pro shortly, and that'll be a lot of fun. But I wanted to start with this knife, and I couldn't because I couldn't get the darn thing apart. I don't know what they used as far as Loctite or how much of it, but I tried every trick in the book to try to break that stuff down and be able to take these screws out, and I couldn't do it. I eventually was able to get some of the body screws here out, but 2 of them I stripped, so that was a moot point. And then the pivot, actually, which runs on a T10, I couldn't get that out to save my life. I ruined Torx bits trying to get that done because it's that stuck on there. So I would love to do that at some point and get it taken apart. And I think what I will do is send this knife into Life Sharp the next time I do any kind of other Life Sharp order. I'll include this knife and ask them to put it back together without any Loctite. And so that way I'll be able to fiddle with it next time I get it. That's sort of the plan. But again, just another thing that it just wasn't well put together. Really nice design, not manufactured that great. So is it a good knife is the question that definitely needs to be answered. Well, yeah, it's a good knife to use. It's going to cut well. It's going to maintain well. I'm really impressed with the quality of the blade itself, you know, and the look of it. But I don't know. I think at the $30 to $35 price range, there are some other knives out there that are better. All right, so I'll close with a couple other size comparisons that I have. I actually only really have one knife on the table right now, so let me just bring that out. Here's the knife next to a mini grip, so you can see a very distinct difference. I mean, the Unsub is a lot larger, more like the size of a full-size grip. But yeah, that's really all I have with it, guys. Just wanted to bring that to your attention, the fit and finish stuff. Overall, though, just a really good-looking knife, but a missed opportunity to create a huge home run. So I'm still looking forward one day to getting my hands on the actual Bob Lum design Mini Deja Vu. Hopefully that will happen sooner than later. But until then, I have this guy, and I will follow up if I am able to take it further and get this knife apart. All right, thanks for watching. Any questions, comments, complaints, suggestions, you know where to reach me. I'd love to hear from you. But I will talk with you soon. Take care.